You've been listening to the Health Broadcasting Service Radio, your radio of excellence and distinction on everything health. Coming up next is HBS Reporters Out and About. Stay tuned.
Health Broadcasting Service, HBS Radio. HBS Radio is who you're looking for.
Welcome to another thought-provoking episode of Health Broadcasting Service Out and About program, a public opinion sampling segment brought to you from the Health Broadcasting Service HBS Radio Live Studios. Today, we bring you reactions to the question we posed to our friends in the community. Here's the question we posed. What was the hardest thing you had to deal with during the last COVID-19 lockdown? Let me repeat the question. What was the hardest thing you had to deal with during the last COVID-19 lockdown? No doubt the COVID-19 lockdown was quite eventful for most of us, or in fact, for majority of us. We all have our individual stories to tell. Please feel free to contact us with your own personal experience and reactions, either via an email or by messaging us privately through our social media platforms. For Facebook, message us via @healthbroadcast. Our email address is contact@healthbroadcastingservice.com. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A significant public health measure implemented during the COVID-19 pandemic has been periods of lockdown, where people have been mandated to remain in their homes other than for emergencies or to collect necessary supplies and such like. Frontline health workers and emergency services were exempted. Let me seize this opportunity to express our appreciation to all those who have willingly let us into their world on this subject. Thank you. For our dear listeners, please grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy this segment.
Good morning. The hardest thing I had to deal with was not being able to hang out with my friends and my other family members that are outside my jurisdiction. Not being able to unwind after the day's job. Being enclosed in my room, in my house. Not being able to go out, go to church, go to other social activities. I think that was the hardest part of the whole COVID-19 lockdown. For me, that was it. Not being able to go out, not being able to do other things outside my house. I had to go to work only and come back. Not being able to unwind. Pretty difficult.
Yeah, I had things to deal with last COVID-19 lockdown is to stay indoor, and it wasn't easy. No business, no market. It was very tough, serious, and that is the hardest things we had to deal with during last year, COVID-19. And it wasn't easy to feed or to buy things in the market, and everybody tried to avoid the COVID for not to be affected, and everywhere put a mask and rubber everywhere. Honestly, thank you.
Those were very sincere responses expressed by our guests. Movement and socializing are part of what makes us human. So, what happens when these are curtailed? It was the situation we all had to grapple with during the lockdowns. Hope you are being impacted by what our guests are sharing with us, because I am. Let's take a musical break. We'll be right back. We have more to share. Don't go away. Please take a listen.
Good morning. My name is Ovie Cyril. The hardest thing I had to deal with during the last COVID-19 lockdown was the fact that I couldn't go to work, due to the restriction of movement. I couldn't go to work, so I couldn't really earn, since my job required my physical presence. It was really difficult for me, so for me that was the hardest thing I had to deal with. And being a man who has a family to feed, and take care of, it was quite challenging. Thank you.
During the COVID-19, I had to face the challenge of not having businesses flow as proper, because my business had to do with going out at every point in time. Every day I go out to building sites, I go out to showrooms, customers' house and all of that before we could get the deal sealed up and all of that. But one of the major challenges that the COVID-19 affected the inflow of business, and which also affected our financial capacity. Almost 50% of savings had to go before we could get back to our feet. So COVID-19 affected me business-wise. That's the major thing.
Working and earning, as we learn, were affected during the lockdowns. I'm sure you have your own stories. If you would like to share your experiences, please feel free to contact us. Okay, let's quickly go for another musical break, and when we return, we'll get to hear more. Thank you for staying with us, and I hope you enjoyed that musical break. We'll continue where we left off. Our next guests are ready to share their experiences with us.
The hardest thing for me to deal with was putting on the personal protective equipment working in the hospital, that you have to use that all through your shift. Protecting yourself and your patient is very stressful. Most people react to it, including nurses and doctors, in form of dermatitis and other allergic reactions, and also is very uncomfortable to breathe when using those personal protective equipment to work. Also, going to do normal daily activities, visiting places that you would love to. Restricted access to places which usually used to be free entry, and also collecting personal data. So the privacy breach is a hurt in this COVID.
Okay, for me, the hardest thing I had to cope with during that lockdown was the new lifestyle, having to be able to be compliant to being cautious, being conscious, being careful, having to wash my hands frequently, sanitize my environment. I work in a hospital, so I get exposed to potential dangers. So having to be careful whenever I touch a surface, hold a case note where I sit, it was just the most difficult thing to do, having to comply to the COVID guidelines, the masking, depriving myself of oxygen. Honestly, complying to the principles, the new lifestyle, all of those things collectively were the most difficult part.
I certainly have been impacted by the sincerity of our guests, and I am sure we all can relate to all these sacrifices of the frontliners during the lockdowns. either as takers or as givers. The pandemic, no doubt, has taught us all in the entire global community some vital life lessons we can never forget in a rush. Let's take a musical break and we'll be right back. Okay, bringing in our two final guests on today's program and hearing their experiences may get you thinking. If it does, please contact us.
My name is Nonso Michael. The hardest thing I had to deal with in the last lockdown was the restriction. You know, it really affected my business and some personal things that I had to do at that time. Well, thank God it was finally lifted.
One of the hardest things I had to deal with during the COVID-19 lockdown was the isolation. Not being able to move around, not being able to contact or reach the people I care about, not being able to lead my social life. It was very tough for me. I don't even want something like that to happen again.
And what can I say? You heard it all, straight from the horse's mouths. On this note, I would like to say a big thank you to all our lovely guests on this program who have shared their personal experiences with us. Please feel free to send your own experiences or reactions via our email. Our email address is contact@healthbroadcastingservice.com. This is the much we can bring to you on today's segment. Thank you for staying with us. Until next time, please stay safe.
This is HBS Radio. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our program lineup for the day. For our program lineup, please visit our website at www.healthbroadcastingservice.com. You can also contact us via email by emailing contact@healthbroadcastingservice.com. Wishing you a day full of health.
Health Broadcasting Service.